Okay, I turned off the marquee so we didn't get a glare from there. There's quite a bit of glare on the camera here. So when the machine boots up, you'll see it automatically boot up. It should look for the first light gun automatically, then look for the second light gun automatically. It'll throw an error, which you'll see if it does. If it doesn't see one of them, which you'll just have to make sure and plug in your player 1 into the USB in the computer inside, and then your USB 2 for your player 2, and then restart it. There is a shortcut on the desktop. Click to start. This one here will again restart the light guns, and then it'll start coin ops. You won't have to click this. If you just need to start coin ops because your light gun's already there, you can do that. If you need to go in to the settings, there's a programs here, and you can hit light gun 1 or light gun 2. That'll start the Sinden software, which will then be down in the system tray there. So let's go ahead real quick, and I'm just going to pretend like it's a brand new boot. This will automatically do this again, but I'm going to double click this, and you'll see here this is what it'll look like when it first boots the computer. Okay, so now I'm booted up and I'm ready to play. This is what should happen. But I do want to talk through a couple more just troubleshooting things just in case something comes up. So from here I can just press play. Of course it'll go into the interface here, which I can navigate. I'll show that in a minute. But for now I'm just going to hit escape. That's going to go to the desktop. So you can see down here now, maybe you can. I'm trying to hold the camera and the mouse. So you can see that there's a couple of these Sindens that are started because they both started. One's for gun 1 and one's for gun 2. I'm just going to double click one of those. And you can see here that it automatically starts. That start button is started. So I know that it sees my gun and the gun is started. If you need to plug the gun in, then you could hit start there if you need to. Again, you shouldn't have to do any of this. I just want you to be familiar with it somewhat. So if I go to select light gun here, you can see on this one, I have the red on COM 3. And this one shows that the red is selected. That means that is number 1 here. And if I close that and I go down and open the other one real quick, sorry. Oh, actually, if I close it, it'll close all the way, which I don't want to do. So you can see here start, and if I go to select light gun, you can see there that this is the blue. So this would be all the settings for the blue. Do not change anything in here. You'll just mess it up. This is just so you can understand that the light gun itself is going. Like I just did a minute ago, if you hit X, it's going to actually shut the program. If you hit minimize, the program's going to keep running, which is probably what you want, and it'll just be down in the system tray. I'm going to go ahead and just close this because, again, I just wanted to show that. You shouldn't need it. It's just for some background there. That way, if for some reason in the future you need to unplug a gun and plug one in, and we need to talk you through it, I just wanted to show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and let this start now like it did. It'll restart both of the sending guns and then start the software. Okay, so let me talk through some basic navigation using the panel here. So I have exit mode, menu, play, up, down, left, right. Player 1 coin to start, player 2 coin to start. So when I come in first, I can hit play. It's going to load up the games. I can then navigate left and right, which is the main thing you want to do. If you press up or down, you can see here I'm on all. So I'm on all of the games. So if you don't see all your games, it's because you're on some other setting. So just make sure you're on the all. That's pretty much all you need for this build. So you can see here I can go across. When I let it stay for a minute, it'll play a preview of the game. So this will just go to the next game. I also can hold down mode and press right, and it'll jump to the next letter. So you can go B, C, D. Same thing, hold down mode and press left. It will go back. As well as in a game or out of the game, I can press mode and press up, and that's going to turn the volume up. You guys can see that. I can hold down mode and press down and turn it back down. Obviously, coin to start in the games. I'll show you on the guns as well how all of that works. And then once I select a game here, I can press play. As you navigate, you can notice down at the bottom too, this is what system it's going to come up on. So some of these systems like Wii, maybe only one player works on that emulator. It's the only thing that they have coded so far. But on MAME and a majority of them, both players will work if you get a 2-player system. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and boot into a Windows game to show you this. A majority of the games, you'll just push escape to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter and go into a Windows game. Some of the Windows games, if you press escape on it, just press this once, it will go out of it. If not, you can hold down mode and then press exit, and that'll send an Alt F4. So again, I can press down mode and turn it down or turn it up here. When I go to exit, you can see here that it's not exiting the game. I could shoot quit in the corner, but I also could hold down mode and press exit, and that'll do my Alt F4 to take me out back into the navigation here. So there's two ways to exit. I would always just press exit first. If it doesn't do what you want, hold down mode and press exit, and it will force out. Okay, so let's talk through the gun here. So you can see this is a Sinden gun. On one side, you have the D-pad and 2 buttons. On the other side, you just have 2 buttons. And of course, you'll have the trigger button. This will also cock the gun here. So you can come back right there and cock that there. It's super important that if there is not a white border around the screen or the game, the gun's not going to function properly. It needs those borders. So within most of the main games or all the main games, you'll see bezels come up. They already have the white border. But on a lot of the PC games, maybe there's not a white border. It's really simple. That's on the right side of the gun. This back button here will add the border. So when I push this, you'll see there's the border. So now the gun is going to operate as expected because it can see that border. If I press it again, it's going to go to a 4x3, which isn't good for this, but for some games it will be, depending. You'll know. Push it again, it goes away. Push it again, it shows up. So now my gun is going to operate as expected when I point at the screen. Now, with these guns, once you have your border, if you're pointing at the screen, these buttons are going to do one thing, and if you're pointing off the screen, they're going to do something else. So this front top right button here, if it's not pointing at the screen and you press it, that's your coin button or your select button. If you're pointing at the screen, that's your start button. Now you can also use the coin and start for each player on the panel, but that's how you do it with the gun. So player 2, same thing, point away, push it, it's coin. It'll be player 2 start for all the games that support player 2. To shoot, obviously you'd be pointing at the screen, pulling the trigger. Then you can either typically use the cock of the gun to reload or point off the screen and pull the trigger. That will reload as well. And then for the rest of them, you can still do your normal navigation, up, down, left, right. Some games you'll use these, and we've noted that. Like if there's a special feature that's outside of the other buttons that you need to do. If not, typically this front button right here pointed at the screen will be your missile button. This will be your additional special button there pointed at the screen. But again, that button, if I pointed it away from the screen and shot, it won't do the missile because it's a different command. It has to be pointed at the screen to do one thing or pointed off the screen to do to the other. And that's pretty much it for this video. So we're going to go get this unit cleaned up. This one's going out to customer. There's a few things we've got to do to get it out the door. So it'll get cleaned up and palletized and all that kind of stuff. The main thing I wanted here is just to kind of talk through this gun build and how it works, as well as you'll get a sheet on all the games. On most of the games, a majority of them will just work as you expect, but some of them have different buttons maybe you need to hit or different things you need to do, or they have a long boot time. So there's some notes on some of the games just so you understand how to navigate them, especially around some of the Windows games. They're a little trickier than just like the standard main. So anyways, GameRoomSolutions.com. Visit our website. This is our gun build.